Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, August 14th, 2023. So this will have covered the week of August 7th through the 13th of 2023. This was not a very productive week overall for a few different reasons, so this video probably won't be super long. But this week was fairly busy for me because, of course, I was finishing up a lot of Pikmin 4 stuff. That game is mostly complete. I don't know if it's going to get streamed anymore. The last two parts actually did get pretty well viewed, but I think it might have been more because it looked like it was going to be, close to the finale. I may still stream it one more time. We will have to see, but I haven't fully decided yet on that. And then, of course, I had my family here from Thursday through, middle of Sunday, so I was real busy spending time with them and all for my dad's birthday, so didn't have a whole lot of time to game this week after the first few days, in which that was a lot more Pikmin playing anyway. But I did make a little bit of progress this week on two different games, and I am happy with the progress made, especially on the Division 2. So, first and foremost was the Procession to Calvary. This is the North American version of the game. It's only PS4. And this was actually a pretty fun little point-and-click adventure game. I would actually definitely recommend this one, especially if you can get it for cheap. The Platinum Trophy is very easy. If you follow a guide, you can do it in about an hour. It took me about 71 minutes to Platinum, so just a little bit over an hour. I'm sure I could have done it a little bit faster, but I probably couldn't have sped it up too much beyond that, so I would say anything from 50 minutes to 75 minutes is pretty reasonable for this game. So it's a pretty quick and easy Platinum Trophy if you follow a guide. However, I will say you probably will need a guide at times because these trophies... This is one of those games where the trophy descriptions really don't tell you what you're supposed to do, so it would be a lot more trial and error if you don't have a guide, so do keep that in mind. So I think this was the very first trophy I got in the game, and this one, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you can only get it one time, but you get it by walking off the right side of the screen at the very beginning of the game, so jumping off of a ledge and you die. And you get this trophy. I don't know if it's the only time in the game you can get it or not, though. Then, if you're going for either ending 2 or 3, which both require you to play the game like you're supposed to, because there's 3 different endings, and ending 1 is sort of a speedrunny way to do it that's different. But if you're going for ending 2 or 3, I think a lot of these trophies are going to end up being story-related, including this one, where you have to basically help out a few different people that are wounded by doing a few basic tasks for them. And once you do that, you can end up getting some crutches that can be used to row a boat to progress through the game. This is real early on. Then this one, I'm not entirely sure if this one is a story-related trophy technically or not, because I think it's more of a side thing you can do where you just have to find an apple and give it to a person that's riding a horse and then get a wheel to attach to their cart. Then you have to complete these 3 different magician assistant things. These are all helping a guy who's claiming to be a magician. And it's got all sorts of some religious theming to it, of course, too. But I'm not going to go into too much detail with all this because I didn't pay too much attention to the story. I did skip through a good bit of the dialogue because you're allowed to. But for these magician's assistants, you basically have to do a few different tasks for the magician character, and they're pretty much all story related if you're going for either ending 2 or 3. Then for this one, you have to pet a lion cub when you go into the basilica, either the first time or the second time, it doesn't matter when, and it's actually pretty easy to get. Then this one is you have to win the talent show. I believe that one's also story related if you're going for ending 2 or 3. Then you have this one, which I think that this one, I actually don't remember what this one was at all. It just unlocked at some point. Then this one you're going to get a treasure map at one point, and then you have to go into the art gallery, and in it you have to mark a specific point on a specific painting, and that opens up a safe to get you a treasure. But I think that might actually be required for that story ending, I believe. This one, I believe, is also technically required for either ending 2 or 3. Basically, you have to get a skull that's been eaten off by bugs and then sacrifice it at a satanic altar, and that gives you a reward that you need to progress. This one would also be story related because you have to trade a pearl for like a earring with a certain character. Then this one, you have to feed a skunk some bugs, I believe it was. Just like feed him some bugs, which I think that one's also technically story related. And then you have your 3 different ending trophies. So endings 2 and 3. Ending number 3 is the first one I got. This one, you basically go through the game, you kill the character that you've been going after the whole game, and then bring his head back to the person who sent you on your quest in the first place. And then you go kill a few more people after that, and you get the first ending. Then you simply reload a save from right before you made that final decision, and you spare the other target, and he gives you like a life of wealth and luxury. And then finally, you need to do a second sort of extra playthrough of the game. And in this one, you're just going to kill pretty much everyone you come across. It allows you to speed run the story really, really quickly, like within about 10 minutes. So that's pretty nice. They give you a way to do that, but it gives you a bad ending. And it's basically not the complete game and not the complete ending, like those games out there where you have to beat them on a higher difficulty or else they won't give you the true ending and whatnot. Then this one is for killing somebody, which you'll get during your ending 1 playthrough. This one, I believe, is you get a book from, like, there's a dead, well, he's not actually dead, he's faking being dead in a coffin in the graveyard, and you have to, like, replace it with something to get this one, to get the book, and then you have to do something else with the book as part of the main story. Then this one is definitely not required to beat the story. It's just slap the bishop right at the beginning of the game. Then this one, you have to slap someone 7 times. It's a specific character inside of the basilica. And then this trophy is going to be unlocked along the way to getting ending 1. I don't know if it's actually required if you were really just speedrunning it. I think you just have to kill like a certain amount of people to get it in a single playthrough. So, yeah, the game was actually pretty fun to play through. It's kind of weird at times, definitely a darker point-and-click adventure game, but pretty fun overall, like a lighthearted, dark type of comedy, I guess you could call it. So that was a pretty good experience overall. Like I said, I would recommend this one, especially if you can get it on sale. It is pretty short, though, so you definitely just want to wait till you can get it on sale. And the other game I worked on, I made quite a bit of progress in the Division 2. As you can see, DLCs 1 through 4 are 100% complete, and Warlords of New York is almost done. So, with Operation Dark Hours, I actually managed to knock this out pretty much first try with a group of randoms, which was kind of nice that I was able to get it with randoms. Basically, you matchmake into this raid, and you'll find randoms. You want to do it on the Discovery difficulty. It's the easiest difficulty. And you need to have a full group of 8 players that are all present when you complete the final objective of the raid. As far as raids go, given that I've done raids in, the Destiny franchise a number of times, this raid really isn't all that complicated overall. You don't need to, it definitely helps to know the mechanics going in, but you can kind of figure them out pretty quickly. Basically, the raid goes as such. You start out in the first area just killing several waves of enemies. Then you enter the airplane terminal, well, airport, I guess you would technically call it. You enter the terminal and you kill your first boss. Basically, his whole gimmick is that he will chase around one character at a time. And while he's chasing someone around, someone else gets on one of the 2 mounted miniguns in the room and shoots his backpack until it basically knocks him down, at which point all players can shoot him in the head and do like 2 armor bars worth of damage, and then you rinse and repeat that strategy until all of his armor is gone, and then you can just kill him. So he's simple enough. Then you progress a little bit further forward and you'll get into another sort of hangar area where you're going to split into 2 different groups. And you have to hit buttons on different sides of the plane. I didn't fully understand that step, but we sort of brute forced it. It sends you into fight against several other named elites, but they aren't super hard to kill. They're not like full-blown boss types like some of the other ones in this raid. So then you progress a little bit further forward and you'll have to kill a couple of the little walker creature things. I mean, and they're not creatures, they're robots, but kill a couple of those walker type robots. And then finally you get out to the final part of the raid, which is outside, and that part took quite a while to get through. I think it was more because not everyone knew exactly what you were supposed to do, but basically you stand in the circles around these 4 like generator type things, and once all of their meters are filled to 100%, some weak spots become available on the central Razorback. That's the name of the boss. It's a giant machine that launches out drones and is also protected by some mortars. And when that becomes available, you have to shoot a couple specific parts on it, but then you also have one of the things on the outside, one of those 4 mortar launchers, is going to have someone trying to activate it, and you have to kill that person that's trying to activate it, or else you won't be able to progress any further. If you kill him, more parts of the central structure will become available to shoot, and you just have to shoot those specific parts of it, and you can knock out about a quarter of its health per attempt. So you do that about 4 times, and you should be good to go. The raid's not particularly long. Like I said, if you've done raids in games like Destiny, you're probably not going to have too many problems doing this one, especially on Discovery difficulty. Just keep in mind that it is an 8-player trophy. I mean, you don't need 8 players to start or beat the raid, but you need to finish the raid with 8 players at the very end. So sometimes it is possible to matchmake and join into a raid in progress late in it, potentially even in the final battle. But we did it from start to finish, and like I said, it took less than an hour. It really wasn't all that hard, so I would say don't worry too much about this raid, which is sort of what I was predicting. I had watched a few videos in the past week to see how to do it, and it turned out not to be all that bad. So beyond that, of course, these other DLCs have been done for several weeks now. So you can see all those. They're all just, basically 6 more story-related trophies for finishing all of the extra story missions from these DLCs. And then Warlords of New York. I got the trophy that I wasn't expecting to get this week. I was expecting to get the other one this week, so I was actually very happy with that. So you have 5 story trophies here in a row that are all going to be unlocked simply by completing the story of the Warlords of New York, which is like a 10-hour storyline, I would say, as well as this trophy. So 6 trophies just for beating the story. But then you also, and I'll skip actually that one for the moment, shut 2 corridors while in cover. Of course, that was one of the first trophies you'll get in the game. It's super easy. Reach level 40. This one should come naturally by the time you finish the Warlords of New York DLC, but if not, it'll easily come while working on the other stuff in the game, so it shouldn't be a problem at all, especially while you're working on the Seasonal Manhunt. So the Seasonal Manhunt is an event that goes on for about 12 weeks or, 3 months at a time, and basically every couple of weeks you will have a new person become available that you have to go and save, and to save them you have to complete, I believe it's 5 sort of side tasks to be able to go and rescue them. So those side tasks are 2 control points and 2 pretty much standard bounties that are all going to have to be done on hard difficulty, which again, hard is basically a medium difficulty. It's not really all that bad in this game. Challenging is where it starts to pick up a lot. And then once you deal with those first 4, you'll then have to complete one more, basically longer bounty mission on challenging difficulty, which is definitely harder. Would definitely recommend bringing in at least one partner for those, or else you're going to have a lot more trouble unless you're really high leveled and really good at the game. So basically you do that for the first target, then you wait your 2 weeks or whatever till the second target becomes available. Rinse and repeat until all 4 are saved or taken out, whatever it is. And then the final target becomes available. I'm not sure if you have to be a specific rank within the season, but if you do, I was a high enough rank already, so I was only like a rank 13 or so when I got to that point, so it must not be that high of a ranking. And then you can tackle the actual final manhunt mission, which is just a really, in this case, it was basically replaying the Manning National Zoo, which is effectively a stronghold mission. It's a pretty long mission. It's got some challenging parts to it. And you have to select the challenging difficulty before going into it, and you're most likely going to need at least one other partner to be able to knock it out without getting, really enraged and dying a bunch of times. So me and one other partner were able to knock out that final challenging manhunt mission. It took the better part of an hour on that one just because it is a really long mission, and the other guy, for the most part, was not being very helpful. He was just popping a lot of drones and stuff, wasn't really doing a lot in terms of actually fighting enemies until the very end and doing a couple of revives, but usually taking a while on that. But anyway, once you complete that final mission, if you did that final mission on challenging, you will pop this trophy right then and there. You don't have to complete the entire manhunt on challenging. It's just completing that final part on challenging, but the final bounty from each of the 4 targets is going to be done on challenging as well. So a lot of it is on challenging difficulty, and that difficulty definitely is quite a bit harder than the other difficulties in the game that I had tackled up to this point. But it's certainly not as bad as it could have been. Overall, I would probably put this whole DLC at about a 4 out of 10 in difficulty, because as long as you have a partner for the seasonal manhunt stuff, you're probably not going to have too much trouble. And especially if you're doing it in like a 4-player group, you shouldn't have too much trouble at all. The only trophy left is to complete one of the main missions in New York with a directive active. I just ran out of time to be able to do this one. It's not that hard. Like I said, I ran out of time on this one. And then the only trophy left after that, of course, is Operation Iron Horse, the second and far more difficult raid that I know nothing about. There's no guides for it, at least on, PSN profiles or PlayStation trophies. I'm sure, though, that there are videos out there, so this week I will need to watch a couple of videos of this whole raid and see how to do it, and then I can matchmake in. Hopefully I'll get lucky and join in late into one, but if not, it's fine. I'll just play through the whole thing, and it'll be the last thing I have to do. So, let's go ahead and sync up trophies. So, level 835, 26%, 26,364 total trophies, 735 platinums, 4,812 golds, 7,013 silvers, 13,804 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. Obviously, the main plan is to hopefully finish the Division 2 this week. It is very much possible that I will. But otherwise, there are no major plans at the time. So, obviously finish that off. But once that's done, it's just, all the games I currently have listed for September. Stuff like GTA 5, Shadow of the Colossus, COD Classic, and Outer Worlds. And then just a bunch of other random games. Just the question is, how long will Division 2 end up taking me? I know that final trophy from Warlords is pretty easy. That one won't take long at all. It's just, how hard is that other raid going to be? How long is it going to take me to find a group that stays together and does it with 8 players the whole time? We will have to see about that, but hopefully I can knock that one out this week. Hopefully the raid isn't too painfully brutal if you can play it on Discovery mode, which I think you can. So that's my hope for it. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But otherwise, there's no other current game plans for this week. I have plenty of games currently on my console that I want to play at some point, but most of those, I don't know when I'll do most of those. I will say, though, the next streaming series that I want to do, now that, Pikmin 4 is mostly over, or possibly fully over, and the other games like Modern Warfare 2 are done, I think the next one where I'm going to go for every trophy in is probably going to be, well, there's a couple of those other games that I do want to stream at some point, like the BB and Tina game that nearly got the most votes while competing against My Little Pony but lost in a coin flip. So that's definitely one I would like to stream at some point because I think it should be fairly entertaining. But the next major trophy game that I want to do and make a video out of is both versions of Killzone Liberation. So there's a good chance I'll be starting that up this coming weekend. And along with that, there's also the South Park video, which is, it's heavily completed for the most part. Like now I just need to record the script and then edit the script in with some background music. There's also a few other things I need to add in. But that video should be out by the end of this week. I know I've said that before, but it really should be out by the end of the week this time. That's the plan. Now, when it comes to like streaming and uploading and stuff, I have been pretty tired recently. I think it's heavily to do with some changes doctors have been making to my medications, taking, higher doses of a couple of things and just adding another one in. So because of that, I'm definitely a lot more fatigued than normal. So some of this is going to be sort of hit or miss as to when I actually get the chance to stream and record things, because I am going to be pretty tired most days. That's unfortunately a side effect of a lot of medications, including all the ones that I'm taking. So it's good. It'll be good for my body, but just unfortunately not as good for the YouTubing stuff. But I have plenty of videos I can edit together and all of that. Also, Fallout 76 should be getting its next DLC pretty soon. It's in Atlantic City. It's presumably going to have some gambling and stuff to it. It's another Expedition DLC, so hopefully that's going to be fun, but that should be out within the next couple of months as well, so it'll give me a chance to go back to that game. So, yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Please like and favorite, share, leave me a comment, let me know what you've been working on. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I definitely appreciate it. And like I said, this week, it's going to be a little bit up in the air as to what kind of videos and streams go up. A lot of it depending on, how I'm feeling each day. But hopefully all of those side effects will eventually go away after like a month or so. That's my hope with it. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all later this week for some more content.